Hello and welcome to episode 273. I hope I got the number right this time. Sorry for the little snafu last week. Believe it or not, Rick and Madi are in normal circumstances this week, and both of us are wearing new shirts. It's actually funny, Madi, because I was looking through the thumbnails that we post for the episodes because I saw a person wearing a shirt that I have, and I was like, "Hey, I have that shirt. I should have wore it the same day." But today I wore a new shirt, and actually, I don't think I've seen you in the red shirt.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's new for me as well in the recap. It's not a new shirt, but it's new in the recap. But yeah, I mean, you said it right. Normal circumstances for this week because next week I'm actually starting my big travel in Latin America, which is going to be 3 weeks. I'm going to get to see all our community in there. So really excited. Veeam ONE tours, VUGs, Veeam team. So really looking forward for all the fun and all the good information that we're going to get via all these events. Carolina is joining me this time, so that's really exciting for her, I can tell. So yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah, and then once that wraps up for you, I will be in the other part with Sophia, and I think we'll also have one other part of our team there. So because I have Mexico and Ecuador, and then there's also Colombia. I won't be there, but I think you're only doing the South if I am keeping track of Latin America.
So I'm gonna go Chile, and we're gonna have VUG, and we're gonna talk about it today. Veeam ONE tour in Chile, Veeam ONE tour Argentina, and then we're gonna be in Panama for the first VUG in-person event and one VUG in Quito. So it's a little bit south.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of flights. Can't tell you. I am excited about the flights, but yeah, all the rest for sure. The people in there are amazing.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those activations coming up, but let's jump into the content. I think I did it right. Actually, hold on. I have the names on. I'll turn that off right now. I'm just learning this out. Sorry, this is a new platform. But we got a full docket of content. We're not breaking any rules as we define them. And first up is Andreas Bullman with 15, a nice list of key things to look out when upgrading and some port table stuff. AI pictures and all. What caught your eye here, Madi?
Yeah, of course, the AI picture, first of all, that's a pretty cool one. I really liked it. But yeah, he discusses on how to upgrade the Windows-based VBR environment from V12 to V13. And as you mentioned, he shares 15 potential, let's call it trouble spots. And some of these are actually significant if you're going to go over each of it. Because V13 brings more than 200 port changes, I believe, with many connections moving to 443, 9443, 6162. So basically all the firewall rules actually need a proper review. So that's a big one. And then there are also changes around certificates and the remote components. He's talking about the deprecated features, file to tape, Linux hardened repositories, Veeam ONE. Even if you think about PowerShell version used by VBR, so there's so much, to understand and to go over. And he talks about so many things in here. I think this is a fantastic piece of content. Good checklist in there. So I think one thing that he's mentioning in this article. He says after a major upgrade, the VBR server can become a proxy again, even if that role had previously been removed intentionally. So with Veeam ONE, the connection direction for port 2805 changes in V13, which then can easily be missed if you're simply following the standard upgrade process. So as we mentioned in our previous recap, when we talked all those amazing V13 articles that our community shared, there's so much to take in. So just take the time and go over all, release notes and all the documentation there in the help center. I think it's important if you're going to upgrade to, to the V13.1, especially, you should take everything in consideration. So all in all, fantastic piece of content. Thank you, Andreas, as always. Good stuff shared at the Community Hub.
Yeah, this is fantastic, Madi, and definitely thank you, Andreas, for this one. I'm letting the list go here because I'm going to add one more, because I have actually been doing some upgrades on some of our environments in the lab, and I may or may not have been bad. I had one environment that was on 12.3 that I went straight to 13.1. I didn't even go through 13.0, for example, and or 13.01. And I will tell you, one of the most important things I want to highlight, in addition to everyone reading through this and seeing where you may have some opportunities to just make sure you know what you're getting into. But one of the other areas that I found is the pre-flight check. There are some things that will be red, which will be a stopper for an upgrade, and then some things that will be yellow, which is a warning. Some of those warnings actually are kind of a stopper. For example, I have one, and it's not on this list, so I'm adding it. I had one environment upgrade with a yellow that says, hey, you're using one of the purpose-built backup appliances for 13.x, you will need to upgrade it. And that's actually a big deal. So I completed the upgrade, and then, surprise, it was right, the backups didn't work to that appliance. So I had to then upgrade that appliance. So definitely this is good. And the other big thing I would like to make sure everyone checks is the warnings that you get on the installer, especially on the Windows, Veeam Backup and Replication Server, net new systems running the Veeam software appliance won't kind of start that way. All the links, incredible, good stuff. Wow, this is good.
It's really good. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's complex, right? This
Yeah.
release was very complex. So definitely check it out. Take your time, to understand it fully. Otherwise, you during the upgrade, you just might get frustrated because something might not work. So take your time, just go over all the good stuff. There is plenty at the Community Hub so far. A lot of our community member Veeam 100 VUG leaders already took the time, to do the upgrade. They already played with the beta previously. So there's a lot of good content in there. Just check it out.
Indeed. Thank you, Andreas. All right, next up is Timo with a Veeam ONE 13.1 SAML and Entra connection post here. So this is an interesting one. I like this, using the more modern identity, but what caught your eye on this one?
Yeah, I kind of like, because this is, as he says, step-by-step guide in there. And for anyone running Veeam ONE 13.1 and, wanting to bring authentication into the same identity ecosystem they already use across the organization, this is a great guide. And Timo shows us how to complete the setup of SAML authentication with Microsoft Entra ID, starting with the creation of the enterprise application and then configuring the identity provider in Veeam ONE, all the way to assigning users and groups and then testing the SSO login. So basically the whole process, which is great. And he's also sharing, as you can see, print screens. So that's something that I always appreciate, to be able to see that. And he says, if you are using groups, the group claim needs to be configured with the exact expected name because it's case sensitive. So, once authentication is working, you still need to map those Entra users or groups to the appropriate Veeam ONE roles. And SSO gets you through the door, but Veeam ONE still kind of controls what you're actually allowed to do. So one thought in here is if your organization is already kind of standardizing the authentication around Entra ID, I think maybe this is a future worth putting to work as well. So thank you for sharing, Timo. Great to see you back from vacation and already active.
Yeah, indeed. And, I personally haven't done this with Veeam ONE. And, this just definitely closes the loop to give me a good sense of what it would look like, because I've been very much just this one, current user or explicit credentials. So I think that having it that way, that's really interesting. So thank you so much for sharing that, Timo. All right, next up, number 3 on our list of featured content, Michael Melter. Good to call your name again. When HTTP versus when INET, when the proxy bypass for an S3 repo works in the user interface, but not in actuality. Ooh, this is the type of thing he had to find it out the hard way.
Totally. I mean, what I understood from this article is like Michael ran into an issue while connecting an OTBS3 repository through a corporate proxy. So he says, like, everything looked fine when the repository was added, but backups were kind of failing with and giving him a certificate error. So his investigation eventually came down to Win HTTP versus Win Inet. So basically, the proxy bypass had been configured in the Windows GUI, but the Veeam services were running in the system context and using Win HTTP instead. So um, he says, like, that kind of thing is very easy to miss. So your browser can actually connect directly to the storage while the actual Veeam service is still kind of sending the same traffic through the proxy. And because the proxy was interfering with the TLS connection, that kind of resulted in that kind of error, and it was pointing toward the certificates rather than the actual network path. So Michael actually advises at some point in this article to check what the service actually sees rather than relying on the Windows proxy settings. And he says net s hash win HTTP show proxy gives you a much clearer picture of what's happening from the service perspective. So that this type of article is always, good, because I'm sure other people might just encounter, this type of error, and it's kind of a troubleshooting, if you want, type of article. So kind of grateful for sharing it with us, taking the time to put all that together, Michael. And yeah, always
Yeah,
always great
that
to have you contribute, of
so
course.
I use netsh a lot, that
Yeah.
command, and I've never used it for this set of commands. I personally use netsh a lot for the advanced firewall. So I just jumped in the lab there,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't have a proxy. Okay, so this first command is to show proxy, and I don't, because I have direct connectivity. But if you're talking about multi-site, off-site, or copies, or isolated, siloed environments, it's actually reasonable to expect that you might have to use a proxy.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually really cool. So thank you so much, Michael Melter, for sharing this. And that's one of those things that you find the hard way. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, very valuable, this one.
Outstanding. All right, next up, the Veeam Vanguard blog spotlight this week is going to feature Christian I am Soul Ever Soul with resolving a Veeam ONE specified property cannot be found during an upgrade type of a message. So this is a great one.
I agree, totally. Of course, we always mention Chris, with the awesome content he shares at the community hub. But, this is the first time we are actually sharing one of his articles directly from his website in the VBS section. So, congrats that you made it to the VBS, Chris. That's what I wanted to say to start with. But yeah, as you said, he kind of shares a very specific issue that can appear during a Veeam data platform upgrade. Basically, the Veeam ONE is reporting the specified property cannot be found after a V13 license is applied to a V12 installation. So the important detail is actually what's happening underneath. The VDP V13 license isn't compatible with the licensing engine in Veeam ONE V12 because the older version doesn't understand the newer license schema. So that's interesting. And there's this bigger dependency behind it. The Veeam ONE needs to be at the same version or newer than the Veeam backup and replication server it is monitoring. So when you are upgrading, what he's saying in here is like, hey, when you are upgrading a Veeam environment, it's easy to think of, the individual products as separate upgrades, but that's why we have now a platform, right? So the monitoring layer is kind of tightly connected to the version of the backup infrastructure underneath it. So getting the sequence wrong can kind of give you licensing errors, also some configuration warnings, and most probably some data collection situations. So, the good thing is that actually the solution for this is pretty straightforward. You should first upgrade Veeam ONE to V13 first, and then apply the V13 license. So Chris takes us through the issue from the error all the way to how to, make it a healthy environment. And I think this is really something that, everyone should go over if they are planning this upgrade, so they can have a really smooth operation, I would say.
Yeah, and this is also a good segue to mention our first post from Andreas Bullman. We recommend that you upgrade Veeam ONE first. And so you'll have that new license, but you won't be able to install it. So upgrade and then add that license. And then it's kind of interesting because you'll see it right here, because it looks like it doesn't have a license when it's running in the free edition there. So good stuff. Thank you, Christian. All right, now moving over to special department news. We started out with some of the mentions about the activities around Latin America, and the VUG Brazil is going to have a meetup in Sao Paulo, and that's going to be on the 17th of August, the evening before. And here's a quick look at the agenda. This looks pretty good.
Yeah, totally. I think this is going to be great. I mean, if you are going to be in Sao Paulo, you are there for, Veeam ONE tour, you are traveling from other parts of Brazil. I think you still have time to register. You can find the event at the community hub, go to the registration page, just put in the details, follow the instructions, because I see that, on the setup page, there are some instructions. It seems like you have to this time actually get in touch with the leaders, and then they going to discuss it or approve it, confirm it for you. The location looks pretty cool. I think it's going to be interesting. I can see some Veeam people as well that are going to be there. Ricardo, for instance. So it's going to be, I assume, some, information related to Veeam ONE, but also like some updates. It's going to be in a less formal environment, and it's going to be Veeam ONE tour. So you kind of have the opportunity, over a beer to just ask your questions to the leaders, to the community, and also to some Veeam people. So I think all in all, it's going to be a good one. It's just a few hours. Yeah, all the reasons to join it.
Yeah, and shout out Vitor and Gustavo, the very sharp individuals there from Object First. So this will be great. And I love that it's hitting on some of the other parts, Object First, and then the Kasten product. So, and I know the content book that we'll have for the Veeam ONE tours doesn't give enough in those two areas. So that's a nice balance to really round out the product portfolio. So this is a good one. Good stuff. And I think you'll be there, Madi, yeah?
I'm not going to be for the Brazil one. No, I'm going to be in the Chile one, which we are talking next.
That's right. That's right. Sorry. Next up, Chile. Same week, later on, other part of the continent. The Veeam user group Chile will have Celia Cristaldo. Shout out to her. She is fantastic there on the Chile team. And the agenda here is really a preview for the event the next day, 3 hours as well. Wetcom is a sponsor, one of our partners in the region. So I think this is great. And I love that, there's a lot of openness to the agenda, because Cecilia can really bring a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and I think for this one, all the seats filled out already. So I'm not sure you can still register. You can try, you can be put on a waiting list, but I think, yeah, they already have it all filled.
Latin America, they show up. So I love it. Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And then we have a contest. We got 7 folks up for Vote of the Incident Commander Challenge. So this was through, through the 17th of August, so into next week.
Yeah, totally. I think right now we have 7 because Philippe Stubbs, he jumped in with 1 piece of content on Monday, so I decided to actually add it because it's pretty good. So now we have 7, and yeah, just help us to decide which one you think it's better, which one you're gonna use. And yeah, let's get them some badges. There's gonna be basically 3 winners in here. So just wanted to say thank you all for participating, and good luck with this. I mean, it's gonna be tight because all the content is pretty good in there.
I agree, and I haven't voted yet, so I don't want to lead the witness, but you can vote. Just be logged in at the community hub and you can drop a vote. So good luck. Wolf, Shane, Mateus, Nico, Eric, Lucas, and Philippe. Hey, I got all the names right. I'm very proud of myself.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, last up, Kirsty is up. We thought last week was all 13.1, but we're just carrying on. In conjunction with the 13.1 release, we also have launched Veeam Data Cloud Vault Archive. And I know that's a lot of words, but for folks, this is actually really interesting. This is Veeam's offered backup storage as a service archive class. We've had backup class before, Veeam Data Cloud Vault. Now archive is archive class. It's really attractive because it has fixed pricing. Kirsten walks through what's available here. I know a lot of folks that are really excited for this one. And so it's really good to have this yet another storage class option. And actually, this is a good one. I wasn't sure of the pricing. So here we go. This is great. So it sits next to archive class right here, and then the foundation and advanced. So this is really good. I think this fixed controlled cost is really attractive to many folks. So good stuff.
Most probably, yeah. And I mean, if you want in general to check out any Veeam product, any Veeam solutions, product updates is your place to go, because we are trying, to add as they launch, with all the necessary important links that can take you to the help center, to release notes, and so on and so forth. So you can find here the VBR V13.1, Veeam ONE V13.1, orchestrator, anything that it's just new and released, you can find it in here. So it's just like one shop to go, and you can find everything. So I think this is great.
Indeed, and you can find more product updates here on the product updates widget, and we covered a lot of those last week, and just got one more time to call Kirsten's name. So thank you for this, Kirsten. All right, next up from the desk of Sophia, we are happy to focus on who's new. And you know what? We have 167 this week, net new members to the Veeam Community Hub, with 4 coolest usernames. King Hi Ho Like, I guess that's it. King Hi Ho Like, I don't know. Let me know how you pronounce that. And then Junebone, I Am Mundo, Jackie Boy, and Alfred's pick. Okay, shout out Cat. Cat Goes Meow. I'm sure that was a walk-in selection for Sophia. So these are fun. I love looking at these.
Yeah, really great. I mean, I keep on smiling because that Cat Goes Meow is so funny. I mean, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, that is one of those, if you put Veeam in the name, you put backup, or you put Cat, or you put Alfred, definitely going to get consideration from Sophia. So thank you, Sophia, for prepping that. And other than that, Maddie, nothing's going on.
And nothing's going on. Next week, we are not going to be in normal circumstances, that's for sure, and probably for the next 3 weeks at least. And then you're going to be in
I
America.
will do my best to do the show on the road. I will say that on the Wednesday of the week that I am traveling and you are back, Sophia's like, why did you book a 6 a.m. flight? We don't need to be there that early. So I don't know what I was thinking.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll worry about that next
roller
week.
coaster, guys. So stay with us. Stay tuned.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. This was episode 273. We will see you next week somehow, some way.